The news doesn't stop here. Here's what's coming up on WCNC Plus at 7 a.m.
A new report by the state auditor says that Charlotte is not getting its bang for its buck when it comes to protecting you on its transportation system.
Take a look. The countdown has now come and gone. Overnight, the federal government now officially shut down.
Republicans are plunging America into a shutdown.
Democrats may have chosen to shut down the government tonight, but we can reopen it tomorrow.
How folks here in the Carolinas will be affected and the impacts we're already seeing this morning.
Plus, North Carolina's Medicaid program forced to move forward with cuts starting today.
What we really need is we need them to find the money somehow. We need them to find funding.
Why state leaders say their hands were tied and how families relying on care will be impacted.
And today begins Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
How folks are coming together in the name of finding a cure all month long. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up on WCNC Plus.
All right, if you take I-85 inbound, we're starting to see those delays. No accidents, just a lot of people heading towards the Charlotte area. But 485, this is ongoing construction. You can see stop and go traffic from Mint Hill all the way past Matthews. So that is a bit of a headache for you. Independence, no accidents, and that construction is wrapping up really nicely. Chris?
Well, at least the weather will literally brighten up your day, and we're going to see more sunshine as the morning progresses. And then, hello, 78 degrees, mid to the upper 70s over the next 4 days. The slightest chance for a late day shower on Sunday, but likely staying dry, and then back into the lower 80s. Enjoy it. But tomorrow morning, we're starting off in the lower 50s, so we can really feel that cool, crisp fall-like air. It's back, y'all.
Ooh, long sleeve weather.
I said a few weeks ago September was the best weather month, but it might be October.
No.
I'm ready for a little bit of a cool down.
Right?
I think September is. Anyway,
we'll
we're
see.
enjoying October.
We are. Happy October, everybody.
Join us on CNC Plus.
Streaming live right now at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington, taking a live look outside on this Wednesday morning. It's the first day of October. We are expecting a beautiful day. Chris has the forecast for us.
Thanks a lot, Lisa. It is a gorgeous day. Look at this. There's a lot going on here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. All right. We've turned on the big monitor, so some activity going on here. 67 degrees right around Charlotte. It is also Roval weekend, so we are expecting a really busy track just in general over the coming days. So I think we're going to have a lot more active mornings here on WCNC Plus. 67 degrees from Statesville, down 77 through Charlotte, 66 around Lancaster, and 56, not too bad, right around the Boone area. We're starting to see those clouds break ever so slightly. Still, overall, I think it will be mostly cloudy over the next couple of hours, and then we'll turn over to partly cloudy status, even mostly sunny by the end of the day. Up to 78 degrees, winds a little bit lighter as well, still gusting up to about 20 miles per hour occasionally throughout the day. Muggy meter, we are in that comfortable range, finally below this line. We'll get back above it heading into next week, but let the good times roll, let the drier times roll. And it looks like it's going to be in that no problem, feeling great range really today through Saturday. A slight shift heading into Sunday, but hey, we're splitting hairs here. The biggest change that you are going to notice is all of a sudden you're going to walk outside if you get up early, especially before the sun rises up, and say, ooh, it's a little chilly. Because this morning we only dropped down to the mid-60s. You're talking about a 10-degree swing, 53 degrees by tomorrow morning, and we're going to be mostly clear. It's the clear sky and the calm wind at night that maximizes what's called radiational cooling. So that could lead to a chillier low, and that's certainly what we're going to see. 53, 51, 52. This is chilly status because in September, we dropped down to 54 degrees. We had a string of the 50s, so this will be the coldest air that we felt since May. And then once you get to the end of the weekend, we're starting to warm up, and we'll actually have more lows in the lower 60s, so back above normal heading into Monday. Not the case in Watauga County. Check out these morning lows, the upper 40s. And on Friday morning, there is even a chance for a little bit of frost on top of the highest peaks of North Carolina. So outside chance for Grandfather Mountain once you get up to about 6,000 feet about Mount Mitchell. Much better chance for a little bit of frost. Nowhere near for us, though. Don't worry about that. I'm just mentioning kind of the outlier here in the Carolinas. But our high temperatures going forward, mid to the upper 70s, back to 80 degrees on Sunday. You're going to notice something. I didn't use the word rain because we have no rain over the next 5 days. Coming up, I'm going to have an update on Imelda, what that girl is doing. Also, your upcoming rain chances, when you can expect that as well as your 7-day forecast. I'll see you soon. But first, getting over to my friend Majestic. What's going on this morning?
Good morning, everyone. I-77 here. If you are going to be taking that morning commute from York County to Charlotte, you can see cars are starting to increase. Lots of people making that morning commute. This is I-77 there at Gold Hill. Cars are not stopped. They're just moving a little slower now that more people are awake. 703 as you're heading out the door. This is I-85 here in Statesville Lab. Similar setup there. Drive times look like this. Just under 50 minutes if you're coming in from Gastonia, and just under 30 if you're coming in from Belmont. Few clouds out there, still seeing a few spotty showers, but for the most part, we have a dry morning commute. Do want to let you know those delays on I-85 out there in Gaston County, they are ongoing. No accidents at this time, but 485, the inner loop right here, this is really jam-packed from Mint Hill past Matthews. You can see people are starting to take some alternate routes, so I'm going to look at this a little bit more in depth for you, making sure that there are not any accidents. For sure that this is all construction and giving you a couple of different ways to get around it. Guys.
Majestic, thanks so much. 7:04 now, and within the last few hours, we've learned a longtime tradition in Charlotte is ending. For the first time in nearly 100 years, the Mallard Creek barbecue won't be held.
Many of you know the event held every October at Mallard Creek Presbyterian Church draws thousands from all over and marks the unofficial kickoff to the campaign trail. The barbecue, known for its pulled pork, Brunswick stew, and for politicians stumping for votes. Organizers say aging membership and leadership moving away made it hard to keep the event going. In a statement, leaders thank the countless thousands of neighbors who have visited the barbecue for good food, fellowship, and contributions to missions. There's hope a younger generation could one day bring it back. Richard Devane knows it very well, covered it almost every single year for us. He joins us right now. And I mean, you are almost as famous at the barbecue as the politicians or the barbecue itself, Richard.
No, maybe not. I'm famous for never being able to quite get that barbecue back to the morning crew. because every year we do live shots in the morning while they're cooking the barbecue, preparing that Brunswick stew, having fellowship with each other, and then by midday we have to do a live shot again, and then they load us down with barbecue. Me and photojournalist Ruben Wallace, and last year we went with Phil, Dr. Phil as I call him, our other photojournalist, but they give us the stuff to bring back to you guys, and unfortunately we bring it back. Sometimes it gets to the people who are working dayside. You morning folks are already gone. But what a tradition. For years, it's a place where you see up to 15,000 folks, we're told, almost every year come out. Many of them just wait in line. They make that a big event. When I first came here and I heard about it, everybody talking about, just give me some barbecue. What's the best way to get there? As far as the traffic, what's the best way to navigate? And the best answer is just start early and wait in line. So many memories of years ago. Of course, it was one of those things where every politician who was running for office, both in the state and local level, were here to shake hands, to hand out their flyers. There used to be an area set up for them where you can see them and interact with them. But the most important thing was the fellowship that this great event did every single year. Everyone happy, and that money going to complete mission work of the Presbyterian Church. It is something that will be missed, and as you said, it's something that we hope the younger members of the church will pick up that mantle and carry it forward, because I know everybody's in the mood for some barbecue, and of course that Brunswick stew, which I should say is a little bit different than what's other places, how they make it in other places around the country. It's a great event, and a lot of people I know, when they hear this news, it's going to be awfully sad.
Because, I mean, Richard, fair or not,
yes,
this city gets criticized for bulldozing over history and moving on to shiny new things. Again, just an allegation that city faces. And here you have an event that's been around for nearly 100 years.
And here's the thing, it's the kind of thing where if you don't know much about North Carolina barbecue or even politics, you're new to the area, you go to something like this and you get a lot of lessons all in one.
That's right.
All right, well, hopefully it will come back. Richard, thanks for sharing your memories.
Be missed.
All right, 7:07 right now on WCNC Plus, and this morning the federal government remained shut down for the first time in 7 years. The shutdown officially began at midnight after Democratic and Republican leaders failed to agree on even a short-term deal to keep the government fully funded.
Right now, it is unclear just how long this shutdown will last or how widespread its impacts will be. Here on WCNC Plus, we spoke with the NC State University political professor Stephen Green about how we got to this point and how it impacts our daily lives.
Well, with a stalemate like this, it's really a media game, and which side can win that media game of placing blame successfully on the other side. And for the Republicans, they are saying, look, we just want to keep the government open, doing what we're doing. And it's the Democrats who are in the process of trying to stop that. For Democrats, their message is, look, we just want to make sure that everybody is able to afford health care, and we are going to make sure we can extend that. And if the Republicans can't agree to that and bargain in good faith, then they are the ones responsible for shutting down the government. So they're both making arguments about that it is the other one's fault, and it kind of depends on who's able to win that argument with the public.
You heard Professor Green there mention health care, and it's a battle that's been going on since President Trump took office.
Green says Democrats are using health care as leverage to stand their ground.
Under the Biden, so a lot of people buy their healthcare insurance on these healthcare marketplaces, the so-called Obamacare plans. And to help people be able to afford that, the government offers subsidies to do that. And under the Biden administration, the extent of those subsidies, the dollar value of those subsidies was increased to make healthcare literally more affordable for millions of Americans. And the Trump administration has proposed getting rid of that, those extended subsidies, so that healthcare becomes dramatically more expensive for lots of people starting next year. And so Democrats feel like healthcare is very much a winning issue for them in the court of public opinion. Again, especially on a situation where you will see people almost surely lose their healthcare coverage because they simply won't be able to afford it anymore. So they feel like this is a good ground for them to kind of stake their claim against the Trump administration.
The Senate is supposed to be in session today and will vote once again. NBC's Alice Barr has more on the fierce stalemate in Congress.
This morning, as the consequences of a government shutdown start rippling across the country on Capitol Hill, frustrated lawmakers starting a new clock to reopen.
It's time to end this and release the hostage. Let's get back to work.
Republicans and Democrats trading blame after two last-ditch funding votes failed in the Senate Tuesday night. Without the necessary 7 Democrats crossing over to back it, they're holding out to restore health care cuts and extend Obamacare subsidies.
Fix health care premiums and spare Americans the calamity of skyrocketing through the roof health care costs.
Republicans argue those discussions can wait, voicing pessimism about the current standstill.
There literally is nothing to negotiate. They're bringing in extraneous issues that don't have anything to do at all with keeping the government open.
Despite the shutdown, Social Security, Medicare, and VA benefits will continue along with student loans. But national parks could close, and roughly 750,000 federal workers could be furloughed. Many more, including TSA agents, required to work without pay until the shutdown ends.
We're looking for bombs, weapons, stuff like that, and you can't miss, right? So you don't want officers with added stress of how am I going to pay my bills?
President Trump raising the stakes, reiterating his threat of mass layoffs while blaming Democrats.
Cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like.
Democrats adamant those cuts are already happening, pushing for leverage now.
They've got to sit down and negotiate with Democrats.
As the nation waits for what's next. While we wait to hear about negotiations, several leading Republicans have said they don't see a clear way out of this shutdown right now, while the Senate's top Democrat argued the American people are learning how bad the nation's health care crisis is and will put heat on Republicans to solve it. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Healthcare is certainly a major focus on the federal and the state level. Coming up in just a few minutes, our Destiny Richards is going to break down the Medicaid cuts taking effect right here in North Carolina.
Also, Richard Vane is going to join us once again with details on the state's audit report into Charlotte area transit. We're back in 2 minutes. It's been more than a month now since the death of Irina Zarutska, and now the North Carolina State Auditor has released part of its findings on Charlotte Transit's agency.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane shares what the report shares so far and how city leaders are responding. Richard.
Yeah, good morning to you, Lisa. Good morning, Ben. Good Wednesday morning, all. Basically, for you folks watching it, plus, we should hear a lot more from city leaders after this audit comes out, saying that for the most part, Charlotte is spending a lot more money to keep its transit system safe, but it isn't getting, let's say, its bang for its buck. That's because that new preliminary report from the North Carolina State Auditor has raised serious concerns about security on Charlotte's transit system. The order, which was prompted by the tragic murder of Irina Zarutska aboard a CATS light rail train in August, reveals that while the value of private security contracts have tripled from $5.9 million in 2022 to $18.4 million this year, the number of armed guards has dropped by at least 40%. CATS currently employs only 39 armed officers to cover its entire system. Now, that's not even enough to cover each of its 48 train cars, let alone its buses. It has other security officers who are not able to carry weapons, but it also raises security issues for folks. The report also questions the influence of Charlotte's business inclusion program, which the report says prioritizes minority and women-owned firms. And they say in one case, the city restricted a security contract to vendors registered only with that program. And they say that excludes other qualified bidders, and that doesn't provide proper safety for its passengers, which leaves many feeling uneasy.
I see more people in like the yellow vests, more security people. I have seen the bike officers, they do patrol the areas a little more.
But a lot of times they're acting like the passengers, their faces in their phone.
And I think a lot of this comes down to people feeling like if something were to happen to them, it's just up to them to protect themselves, and like maybe they can't rely on the people around them.
You may not see them every day, but you will be seeing them routinely.
And that last statement was from Brett Cagle, the interim CATS director. We can tell you, they say they have stepped up a lot of the security on the light rail, on its transit system for that matter. Of course, that full report should come out in just a few weeks, and when it does, we'll give you all the details, both here and in our mobile app. We are right now in South End. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
A lot of people interested in the details of that full report. Thanks, Richard. We'll keep it right here. Majestic is going to have another check of your morning commute coming up in just a few minutes.
7:20 right now on WCNC Plus, and it is becoming an all too familiar sight. You see it here on your screen. This morning, several more homes along the Outer Banks destroyed because of recent storms. Five oceanfront homes collapsed after high tide hit yesterday. Officials say ongoing swells from Umberto and Imelda are causing more damage along the shoreline. They're now urging people to stay away from the beaches in Buxton and Rodanthe due to unstable structures and dangerous debris. Let's go ahead and bring in Chris right now. Chris, I mean, folks new to the area, this is an ongoing issue we're seeing,
Right.
specifically along the Outer Banks, of where once a year or something like that, a house falls in because of rising ocean waters.
Yeah, and sadly, they're not going to be taken down just because they need to fall in the ocean in order for the owner to collect any insurance money. So I think you're just going to continue to see these, that there are some areas, the houses like that can't be sold, won't be sold, just because that's a possibility. Because now this is 2 hurricanes that have been within 500 miles of our shoreline, and we've had houses just simply fall in. We actually had one earlier this year that had nothing to do with the hurricane. It was just a plain old low pressure system. So this is going to be a continued problem. And what I have right here is right now the center of circulation is about 400 miles away from where that happened, but it was around about 350 miles away, so 350 miles away once we had that active video that you were just looking at. So it doesn't take a close encounter, just as we saw with Erin. It could still be as much as 400 miles away and still causing a big impact. Here's a news update. As of 5 a.m., we'll have another one at 8 o'clock for Hurricane Imelda. It's within the next 24 hours that this is going to become a part of Bermuda's history. Now, the only good news that I can find, the silver lining here, is that it's traveling this direction. It's circulating like this. So it's always the right side that it's traveling that's going to have the strongest winds, because it matches up with the circulation and the forward momentum. But then when you have the other side, that's going to be fighting against it. So it can be up to about 20 to 30 miles per hour slower of the winds, and it just all depends on how fast it's moving. The saving grace I can say for Bermuda, that this thing is wasting no time. It's not sticking around. If it's a slow mover, you're talking about a lot more rain. And also the spatial size of Bermuda is much smaller. That also does help a little bit, so less land is going to be affected. But it's likely later on this evening that you're going to have the significant impacts start to pick up, tropical storm force winds turning over to hurricane gusts, and then it's really in between about 10 o'clock to 2 a.m. I think you're going to have the worst winds here for the island, and then before you know it, it's going to be past and gone. So by about this time tomorrow, I think it's just at most some tropical storm force winds. So thoughts and prayers for Bermuda. Hopefully it's nothing major, even though it does look like one of the best direct hits that we've had in recent memory. Hurricane Imelda will continue to push its way into the northern part of the Atlantic, and then it's pretty much just a fish storm. Don't worry about it, and the fish don't mind it either. Our 7-day forecast brought to you by Jerry Hunt Super Center. All is well. We have the mid to the upper 70s. I really like where things are going. We have a nice mix of cloud and sunshine overall. We're staying nice and dry, and then we're right around 80 degrees on Sunday, and it's a boatload of events going on. We have the Roval 400. We already have a really active camera over around Charlotte Motor Speedway, and then also it's the second home Panthers game. Now, I know it's 1-3, but the last time the Panthers are at home, the only time, is where we got that one win. So, Majestic, I'm hopeful that the Panthers are going to get a W. We'll see. At least it's going to be a great day regardless if they win or lose.
Absolutely. Hoping for that win, though. Want to let you know about an active crash this morning. This is westbound on Arrowwood Road at I-77. Here's a picture that we just got in. You can see some emergency responders are there on scene. You can see a couple of cars are involved in this. Again, westbound at Arrowwood Road, I-77. Seems like it's really close to when you're trying to get onto the ramp right there. In addition to that, we do still have this significant delay. This is really the big story this morning on I-485, the inner loop. It's basically at a stop and go. It's because of toll lane construction that is running very late. You can see that cars are really hardly moving at all, and this extends all the way up towards Mint Hill past Matthews. So really your alternate route would typically be just to take Highway 51 right there to try to get around it, but a lot of people are already doing that, so delays are also there as well. So don't have a great alternate route for you. If that's your morning commute, I would just get out sooner than later and allow for some extra drive time, or maybe just wait a little while. We are looking at Independence, where conditions seem to be all right for now. I-77, not seeing any big delays there either. And then this crash is still ongoing. A lane is blocked because of it. It's on Lawyers Road at Rolling Oak Lane. We're going to take a quick break. We'll see you right back here in just a couple minutes.
Good morning. Monday we were at 70 degrees. Yesterday, because we did get some sunshine for the afternoon, we actually got up to 77. So we're actually going to be very similar to where we were yesterday. Nice mix of cloud and sunshine. It will be another cloudy start, but we're already starting to see the sunshine a lot more than we saw just 24 hours ago. Now, going forward, we are anticipating a really up and down between the mid to the upper 70s, and our lows are really going to be the biggest change that you can expect in the near term. So check it out. Our lows over the next day or so, dropping down to the lower 50s Friday and Saturday morning, waking up about 51 to 52 degrees before they're eventually coming back up. As far as our rain chances, taking a big old break over the next 4 days. Our 7-day forecast brought to you by the Jerry Hunt Super Center, mid to the upper 70s, back to lower 80s Sunday and beyond. Majestic, what's going on this morning?
We have an active crash right here. Take a look at your TV screen. This is going to be westbound at Arrowwood Road at I-77 to get onto the ramp. You can see a couple of emergency responders are there on scene. A couple of cars involved in that. That is an active crash that's ongoing currently. 485, the inner loop. Do you typically drive this way? Unfortunately, it looks terrible. I'm talking about stop and go traffic. It's because of some construction. You could try to take Highway 51, but there are some delays there as well.
We are streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30 on this Wednesday. Thanks for joining us.
I'm Ben Thompson, Lisa Washington right here. Happening today, Medicaid cuts taking effect across North Carolina, lowering how much the state pays doctors, therapists, and other providers.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Riches joins us in the studio this morning to explain what this could mean for the thousands who will be impacted. Destiny.
Good morning. Advocates say the reductions will make it harder for families to find care, especially those raising autistic children who depend on Medicaid for essential therapies and supports. Starting today, Medicaid reimbursement rates are being reduced by 3 to 10% depending on the service. That includes speech therapy, child development services, and care management programs. The state says the changes are needed to keep Medicaid within its budget, but providers warn fewer therapists may accept Medicaid, leading to longer wait times and less access. For autistic children, those supports aren't optional, they're critical. Rebecca Tarrant, founder of the Charlotte nonprofit Autism Kids, says the cuts will hurt families who already struggle to find services.
The children that already have supports are going to have, and it's also going to be harder for them to get supports in school. So it's going to bar their access to healthcare and to an inclusive education. It's going to be more expensive. It's going to be more stressful. And what we really need is we need them to find the money somehow. We need them to find the funding.
Autism advocates say losing those services could have lifelong impacts, not only making childhood harder, but reducing independence later on. They're urging lawmakers to restore the funding before more families fall through the cracks. Ben.
Well, Dusty, so what happens next? Could these Medicaid cuts be reversed?
Yeah, so possibly. Earlier this year, the way this all started was that lawmakers approved only part of the funding that Medicaid needed, and I believe it was $819 million that they needed of additional funding. Well, the House and Senate had competing plans that they brought to the table, and they could not resolve the gap before adjourning. And then Governor Stein just has been urging them to act quickly to push this funding across, and he's instructed the health department to make reversible cuts where possible. But October 1st is now here, so those cuts are now in place. It's on the department, the North Carolina Health and Human Services website, those reductions. And the legislature is scheduled to reconvene on October 20th, so there's possible something could happen there. But in the meantime, families are hoping funding can be approved to restore payments before the cuts cause a lot of strain.
That's 20 days from now. So certainly, something to think about. And people don't understand when it happens in your home, in your neighborhood, your community, that's devastating. Mm-hmm. All right, Destiny, thanks so much for that live report.
All right, turning back to your forecast with Chris.
Thanks a lot, Ben. Hurricane Imelda continues to distance itself from the United States, so that means a better and better weather, and eventually it's going to pull a lot more moisture even well above our heads, and that's going to lead to more sunshine going forward. For right now, we barely have a chance for a sprinkle. Don't think it's going to come to fruition, and those clouds are starting to stretch apart. That's allowing for more sunshine through the morning. It's going to be a decent afternoon, even a mostly sunny end to the day, and almost a clear start to your Thursday morning. Slight chance for a little bit of fog further west that you go. Lylesville looking gorgeous. Loving this shot right now. Good morning to you, Anson County. And 78 degrees is where we should be for Charlotte climatology. October 1st. Today, October 1st, starts around 78, and then we end at about 68 for an average high by Halloween. And it's at this time of year that you want to have those drier, comfortable days, and that's exactly what we have. Rolling tape over the next 36 hours, not really seeing too much go on. We have some rain that's right along the shoreline. No rain here. I think tomorrow's even wall-to-wall sunshine type of scenario. Barely a cloud in the sky where things are pointing to there. So it's one of the better days this week. Dry weather as well. We only have a spotty chance for rain. That's like 10%. I would discount that. Just enjoy your day. Don't worry about the rain for right now. For your Sunday, better chances for an isolated shower or storm for your Monday and Tuesday as temperatures get a little bit warmer as well. We have a little extra storm fuel at that point. Nothing major really to point out. Middle of the week, we do have a cold front. That would be the best chance for really more scattered thunderstorms. But that's just outside of the 7-day forecast. We have a big drop as far as the moisture content in the air. That's also going to allow our lows to drop as well. So sweater weather, we're talking about the lower 50s over the next few mornings. This is drastic because we've been mainly rocking the mid to the upper 60s. If you take 10 plus degrees for any given day for the morning, for the afternoon, it's noticeable. So when you walk out the door, you're gonna be like, oh man, maybe I should grab a sweatshirt. But it's still warm enough, especially with sunshine, that could be just left in the back seat. Just be advised, or the kid leaves it at the playground. I did that all the time in my adolescence, and that's probably no surprise to you. Our mountain lows here in Watauga County, really pinpointing right around the Boone and Blowing Rock area, expecting lows in the lower 40s, and eventually we're back to the 50s. For Charlotte, we were starting off in the lower 50s, and then we're back to the lower 60s. So a nice swing there. Our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast has temperatures jumping all over the place, but nothing really too extreme. Mid to the upper 70s, back to around 80 degrees for the Panthers game. For the Roval 400, great forecast as of now, back to the lower 80s. As I mentioned, a little bit warmer, a little bit steamier Monday and Tuesday, but Majestic, we've talked about it. That is a great way to start off October.
Absolutely, especially with the sunshine. It's going to be a beautiful day today. Nice way to kick off the new month. Let's get you going and out the door. This is I-77 here. Want to give you some updates in South Carolina. This is Gold Hill here. You can see cars are moving, but they're starting to move rather slowly. This is very typical for this time of the day. No current accidents if you're coming in from York County to head into Mecklenburg County. Gastonia, if you're driving into Charlotte this morning, it's going to take you nearly an hour, so plan accordingly. Much the same out towards Salisbury. This is still an active crash here. It's westbound on Arrowwood Road at I-77 to get on to I-77. That ramp there, you can see a couple of emergency responders are there on scene, and a couple of cars involved in that. Again, westbound on Arrowwood. You can still see lots of delays on 485. The inner loop. This just is terrible because cars are at a complete stop and go, and it's because of construction that is running very late this morning. So here's the thing. Your alternate route, it would typically be to take Highway 51, but other people are already doing that, so there will be delays there as well. So you need to just allow for extra drive time for that morning commute. Pack your breakfast, grab some coffee, and out you go. Another thing you need to know out towards Matthews is a new crash just now popped up. It's right here on John Street at Fremont Street. So we have a lot going on this morning, Lisa. We'll have another check on those area roadways here shortly.
Majestic things, 7:37 now. An alert for folks out in Catawba County. Public health officials say a stray cat in the Sherrills Ford area tested positive for rabies. They say anyone who may have come into contact with a stray black tuxedo cat anytime since September 5th should call the county disease team to discuss next steps, which could include receiving a rabies vaccine.
We're learning about new jobs for Gaston County. A new Walmart fulfillment center is coming. Governor Stein made the announcement Tuesday. The $300 million facility will be built in Kings Mountain and will create 300 new jobs. It'll ship large items like patio furniture and lawnmowers to nearby customers within a day. The plant is expected to be open in 2027.
Well, coming up, state lawmakers are pushing a new bill giving violent crime victims a chance at justice, while they say it's time for judges to take accountability. $7:40 now. A crime alert this morning. Pineville police are urging people to lock their cars and take valuables inside. Car break-ins are up 18% this year. That's about 25 more compared to last year. In fact, police say they recently had 6 break-ins in a single week. A new fight over the criminal justice system is brewing in Washington, and it started right here in North Carolina. North Carolina Congressmember Tim Moore just introduced a bill letting crime victims sue judges over their bond and sentencing decisions.
WCNC Charlotte's Trisha Woodard found out why some say they wish the policy had been in place much sooner.
I had a good kid. He was amazing.
4 days after Dawson Oliver blew out the candles on his 22nd birthday cake back in February, his mother, Billy Sanders, was picking out a casket.
There's something wrong with our system.
Police say his life was cut short in a crash caused by a man who'd been through the court system again and again.
It's changed my life, but I will fight as long as I have fight left in me.
The suspect in the case had a rap sheet stretching back more than a decade, including a conviction for DUI back in 2022.
I don't see how these judges can see all this stuff and let them out.
Sanders is one of many now fueling a new push against judges.
My life has changed forever. And I feel like the blood is partly on their hands.
Congressman Tim Moore's bill would allow victims to sue judges over their bond and sentencing decisions.
I just want people held accountable before they make these decisions in court. I just want them to think, please think, because that's our babies out there.
Moore also pointing to the deaths of Irina Zaruska and Logan Federico as examples. Lives, he says, could have been saved.
Only to be murdered by some animal who should have been behind bars.
She was 5'3". She weighed 115 pounds.
Sanders says this isn't just a legal fight. It's about making sure no other parent has to bury their child because a dangerous offender was given yet another chance.
I don't want any other mother to feel the way that I feel. It's excruciating.
Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
Authorities say they've arrested a man for trafficking a Johnson & Wales University student. CMPD arrested 32-year-old David Rivera Monday. He's accused of trafficking a 17-year-old and promoting prostitution. Police say they received a tip from the university last November and later found the victim near Sugar Creek Road. Police also found messages on the victim's phone linking Rivera to the crime. He is now being held in lieu of a $200,000 bond.
Still ahead, leaves are changing. We'll tell you why the colors may not look the same in the years to come.
$7:45 now. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is sending $38 million to help South Carolina farmers recover from Helene. That funding will cover things like timber and infrastructure losses. The South Carolina Department of Agriculture will manage that program and make sure the money reaches producers who need it most.
Right now, the mountains all over North Carolina are coming alive with color. Leaf peeping, of course, a big business for North Carolina, generating nearly $70 million for the state economy each fall.
But Liz McLaughlin explains why climate change could make the season shorter and less vibrant.
This rain is actually good for fall colors. This season so far it's been abnormally dry, and those conditions can dull the display. And in a warming climate, the recipe for brilliant leaves is getting harder to come by. Each fall, North Carolina's forests put on a show.
The green pigment, the chlorophyll, is starting to dissolve, so it unmasks the yellow pigment that we see.
But how dazzling those colors look and how long they last depends on the weather.
Conditions are dry, for example, and the soil moisture is down, they have muted colors, so it really can be patchy across the state.
I spoke with Robert Barden at NC State, who's been forecasting fall colors for decades.
Temperatures, we see slightly longer growing seasons, so that delays sometimes fall color.
Daylight sets the schedule, but temperature and moisture determine the quality of the show.
We want warm, sunny days, but we want those cool temperatures at night so that they trap the sugars inside the leaves, which help contribute to the reds and oranges that we see.
Those cool nights are becoming less common. Across the U.S., fall nights have warmed by nearly 3 degrees since the 70s, including here in Raleigh.
Fall temperature warming has delayed that cool signal that trees need to know when to start changing colors and to shut down and drop those leaves.
Climate change also fuels more intense storms and allows pests and diseases to linger longer, threatening tree health.
When trees are under stress, that's when we tend to see the muted colors.
That unpredictability could ripple through local economies since leaf season tourism pumps billions of dollars into the state each year.
Thanks a lot, and I'm happy to say that we have a couple of these boxes checked. Now, the September being cool and sunny, you can kind of split the difference here. It wasn't overly hot, so that definitely helped us out. And you can catch up really over the next couple of weeks. Those cooler nights really help kind of cut off that chlorophyll. And then you also have to avoid high winds and rainstorms in October and even late September, something that we did not do in the mountains last year. So things are trending in a better direction, but in general, just kind of clarifying what they were talking about. Photosynthesis makes everything green, and then those stored sugars in the leaves lead to the brighter colors. There's actually different types of pigments as well, depending on the leaf. There's the carotenoids that usually make the leaf look like this. It's anything that's around the yellow to the orange. And then the anthocyanins, that's the ones that usually make the more purpley or the red leaves. Terms that you will probably not remember or really care about, but hey, it's on the top of my head, so I had to spit it out. Here's a look at our current fall color. It's really just above about a mile up. And that is a brilliant view so far. I've seen some pictures of it. It's almost, I would say, like 75% change. So if you are planning on heading up this weekend, it's actually not a bad idea. Meanwhile, there's certain parts of the Blue Ridge Parkway, Rough Ridge Trail, Lynn Cove Viaduct, that a moderate color change. So you are starting to see a little difference, and then not really too much happening. And Blowing Rock and Banner Elk, you're seeing some leaves change, but nothing really too huge. On average, we start on the top. Grandfather Mountain's usually around October 7th. Well, what do you know? That brings us through this weekend. So if you were planning on going to Grandfather Mountain, it's going to be very busy, of course, because people are watching and people know this. This is the weekend to do it. If you're off this week, I would suggest doing that because everyone's going to be going on Saturday and Sunday to go check it out. But if you are the one that likes to sit in the car and go on the Blue Ridge Parkway or go on a hike, that's coming up very soon too. It's really the following weekend that you're going to have some of the peak color right around there. And then the Banner Elk, Boone, Blowing Rock, this is the time to rent a cabin. That's by about week 2 to 3 of October. And then us in the Charlotte area and say around Lenore and Hickory, it's usually about the end of October heading into the first 10 days of November that we have that peak. Here's also from explorefall.com. This is a really nice little, what's called a KML file that just, they take all the data and they're able to compile that really where we're seeing that color change. Now you're not seeing the little specks on top of the mountains, but you in general see a lot of green to yellow. And when I show you this map next week, likely you're going to start to see a lot more of that yellow taking over the green, maybe even a few spots of that orange becoming a little bit more prevalent. But as for the fall checklist, this is the week to do it. The apple picking, the pumpkin picking, the fall foliage, checking it out. Make sure to take advantage of it because this flies by, as we all know. Our 7-day forecast is really giving us a wonderful start to October. This always doesn't happen. Sometimes it's super hot. No, it's just right. Baby bear's porridge. storage. Our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast shows you the mid to the upper 70s with dry weather. Keep it around lower 80s with a better chance for rain heading into next week. But the next 5 looks like you're going to be jiving. It's going to be a good one. Let's get right over to Majestic on this morning commute. What's going on?
Good morning, everyone. It has been a very busy start to the day, and we're still seeing those conditions as well. Want to let you know about a new crash. We have a picture of it. It's going to be outbound on Graham Street at 24th. You can see that car up on the sidewalk there. A couple of police officers there as well. So if your morning commute takes you that way, just make sure you're driving safely. In addition to that, we have multiple icons on my map right now. Of course, our typical slowdowns. I still want to give you some updates on this because truly this is the big story right now when we're looking at traffic. It's the inner loop of 485. Still just a lot of construction. Cars are moving very slowly. And again, this would be your alternate route right here, Highway 51. However, do you see all that red here? That's meaning that other people are still taking that route as well. So it's going to be slow moving whether you take 485 or Highway 51. There is a crash right around that area as well, not helping this situation. This is out in Matthews on John Street and Fremont Street. Want to also let you know that this lane has continued to be blocked. I know a lot of people either take Independence inbound or Monroe. Right now we have a lane that's blocked because of a crash there on Monroe Road near Conference Drive. That's what I'm looking at for now. We'll have another check on those roads coming up in just a bit.
Majestic things, 7:52 now. Today is the start of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. More than 100 breast cancer survivors were out at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the annual Paint the Pit Wall Pink event yesterday.
WCNC Charlotte's Larry Springle was there and shows us the importance of this event.
It takes a lot to get to victory lane here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. But an even bigger battle is the battle against breast cancer.
This is a day that we are here to not just raise awareness, but to celebrate survival.
More than 100 breast cancer survivors who fought that battle were at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, along with family and supporters, for the 13th annual Paint the Pit Wall Pink event.
Even this past year, it took a more personal turn for me. My first cousin, Jennifer, was diagnosed with breast cancer late last year. She's been going through the fight and the challenges that I know many of you have gone through and that you're coming out on the other side of.
NASCAR Cup Series driver Eric Jones, along with his foundation, is a big supporter.
Probably the biggest program for us in terms of the foundation. So super visible on the race cars on Sunday, raised a bunch of great money and had a lot of great donations through this program to help out a lot of breast cancer early detection and also people who are going through that fight as well currently.
Eric's mother, Carol, has beaten breast cancer twice.
When the Eric Jones Foundation was asked if we would take over this event, it was a no-brainer. It's like, yes, it fits perfectly with our mission, and obviously we were impacted personally by this disease. So for me, this is great.
Being painted pink, the pit wall is a symbol, helping to spread awareness and encouragement. Akwianjo is a breast cancer survivor.
And I'm so happy that we're out here creating awareness on breast cancer, especially because I got diagnosed at 33, young, no family history of breast cancer with advanced stage breast cancer. So the message that we're trying to put out there is cancer is not a death sentence and early detection saves lives.
The event offers a sense of hope, strength, and unity among survivors, families, and the racing community. Honoring breast cancer survivors and remembering those we lost. Painting the wall pink at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, I'm Larry Sprinkle, WCNC Charlotte.
Well, it is time for us to take a quick break. We'll keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Another check on your weather and traffic in just 2 minutes and the day's top headlines at the top of the hour.
Good morning. 78 degrees is where we should be for the start of October, and we're doing it. A nice mix of cloud and sunshine, more sunshine to end the day. We're even talking about wall-to-wall status as that sun is setting. I want to give you your 10-10-10 forecast, showing you what we're doing over the next 10 days. For one, mid to the upper 70s over the next 4 days, lower 80s for a 4-day span from Sunday to next Wednesday before we see another fall back to the mid 70s. Expect a lot of this kind of temperature range over the next couple of weeks before it gets about 5 degrees cooler than that. Our low temperatures, though, this will be a shock and awe. By tomorrow, we're waking up in the lower 50s, have the light covering, maybe it's sweatshirt, light jacket, whatever's going to get you by before we start to see a warm up there. As for our rain chances, taking a big old break in the near term, rain chances start to really return heading into next week, especially middle of next week. Let's get over to Majestic, who's had an active hour for our morning commute.
7:57, if you are getting ready to head out the door, I need to let you know about an active crash. This is going to be on the outbound lanes of Graham Street at 24th. You can see a couple police officers there as that car is now up on the sidewalk, so slowing you down if you typically drive that way. In addition to that, we have a lot going on this morning. We're covering everything on WCNC Plus, but you need to know 485, the inner loop right now from Mint Hill to Matthews, is just really backed up. You could take Highway 51, but there will be delays there as well.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. It's been more than a month since the death of Irina Zarutska, and now the North Carolina State Auditor has released part of its findings on Charlotte's transit agency.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane shares what the report shares so far and how city leaders are responding. Richard?
Yeah, good morning to you, Ben. Good morning, Lisa. Good Wednesday morning to the folks on the Plus. Basically, city leaders will probably have a lot to say about this report that cites them and says that while they're spending a lot of money for the light rail system as far as security, and that money has gone up, security and its actual protection of the riding public has gone down. That's because that new preliminary report from the North Carolina State Auditor is raising some serious concerns about safety on Charlotte's transit system. The audit, prompted by the tragic murder of Irina Zarutska aboard a catch train, reveals that while the value of private security contracts that the city has entered into with companies tripled from $5.9 million in 2022 to $18.4 million this year, the actual number of armed guards has dropped by at least 40%. Now, they also, in that report, will probably mention the fact that they didn't have the full amount of officers that the contracts allowed for. They still needed to hire people. CAT Security employs only 39 armed officers to cover its entire system. That's not even enough for its 48 train cars, let alone any of its buses. Now, the report also questions the influence of Charlotte's business inclusion program, which the report says prioritizes minority and women-owned firms. In one case, the city restricted a security contract to vendors registered only with that program. That excludes other qualified bidders, the report said, and it does not provide proper safety for its passengers, which leaves many of them feeling, as you can imagine, uneasy.
I see more people in like the yellow vests, more security people. I have seen the bike officers, they do patrol the areas a little more.
But a lot of times they're acting like the passengers, their faces in their phone.
And I think a lot of this comes down to people feeling like if something were to happen to them, it's just up to them to protect themselves, and like maybe they can't rely on the people around them.
You may not see them every day, but you will be seeing them routinely.
That was from the interim CATS manager, Brett Cagle, who made that statement. He also talked about the fact that they've hired more security. They're more visible than they were just a month ago. Of course, that full report with all the details comes out in a few weeks, and whenever it comes out, we'll tell you about it. We're right here in South End. This is Richard Devane. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
Richard, you touched on this, and I don't know that we have a full answer yet, but is there any indication about why we would have reduced the number of officers on transit over the last 10 years? It doesn't seem like that would make a lot of sense. Any indication, at least so far, why that would have happened?
Now, anything would be speculation on my part, but I can tell you that over the last 10 years, we have seen this. And here's one of the things we have to, we really want to put this under a microscope. Let's talk about this. Just within the last couple of years, we had this situation where a CATS bus driver felt very unsafe. I've spoken to a number of CATS bus drivers over the last, because of the death of one of the CATS, or the murder of one of the CATS drivers while he was driving a bus. I've spoken to a number of CATS drivers just over the past couple weeks since this incident has happened. They say there have been no increased security situations going on. We often do our live shots from out at the transportation center. We've seen different times 2 officers, sometimes 15. Those numbers have not been the same throughout the years. We can tell you that much from our perspective. The report does say that while we've spent more money, we've gotten less armed security guards. It also will probably detail the number of officers that were actually hired. When we first started talking about this terrible tragedy, we learned that CATS didn't even have enough officers per the contract. They were supposed to have, I think, 219. They had 189. So they didn't even have enough officers that they had already been able to hire. So there are things that we're going to find out coming up, but the answers as to why we would sign even more expensive contracts, we've dealt with 3 companies according to this over the last several years since this audit is taking place. 3 different security companies. So we'll have to see why we're paying more but apparently getting less, and people aren't feeling safe when they get on the light rail system or transit system in general.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, at least at first blush, but
right.
maybe.
I mean, there's one thing for the cost to change to go up. You know, you're paying more, but we're talking about a really inconsistent number of officers. I think that's where the real question lies. All right, Richard, thanks so much for that.
All right, turning back to your weather impact forecast and your pumpkin picking forecast. How about that?
What? I know, and I'm not being unreasonable because it is officially pumpkin season. One of my favorite places to go, Bush and Vine, where you can literally pick the pumpkin off the vine. They officially opened up this past weekend. So that means going forward, really Monday through Saturday, you can go to places like this to pick pumpkins. It's not just a weekend event. So if you want to pick some pumpkins today, do it. Seriously, the upper 70s, plus it's always a little less busy during the weekdays. Today should be around 78 degrees for a typical first day of October. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do, and how we feel is actually amazing. No sticky air. You can sometimes have that to begin the month of October. But real quick, I want to talk about October changes. Check this out. On average, we start off October 1st here in Charlotte at 78 degrees with typical low about 57. We're pretty much there. Our lows are a little bit warmer for today, and then we're below normal by tomorrow. But for the last day, this is a significant change. The highs changed by 10 degrees. The lows changed by 13 degrees. There's no other month that the averages for our highs and lows change more than the month of October, and that's for the rise as well. So just keep that in mind as we continue day by day through October, significant changes, that these lower 50s might actually be warm compared to what we potentially could have by the end of the month. But then those lower 50s easily getting back to about that 60-degree point before you know it. However, the mountains usually about 10 degrees cooler at least. You're going to be dropped to either side of 40 degrees. So we're just going to put a weather bookmark right here. I'll have your full forecast talking about your next chance for rain as well as your 7-day forecast. I'll see you soon. But Majestic has a lot to talk about for our morning commute, so let's pass the clicker and baton off to her.
All right, let's get to it. This is I-77. Want to take you back to South Carolina, where traffic is just moving a little slowly, of course, as we're heading from York County towards Mecklenburg County. This is what we typically see this time of the day. Those inbound lanes are moving rather slowly, but still no accidents to report. So some rather good news there for your Wednesday morning commute. It's going to take you almost 1 hour to get to Charlotte if you're coming in from Salisbury, and this is still an active crash here. A picture of it. This is outbound lanes on Graham Street at 24th. You can see a couple of police officers there, a car right there up on the sidewalk, so you can still get through. It is just going to take you a little while because of that active scene. And then here's the big deal. We've been talking about this for quite some time. 485, if you're just turning on the stream, it is looking like it is a mess. I mean, cars are at a stop and go. It's still this lingering construction, plus that typical morning commute now. So you can see all of that red from Mint Hill all the way through Matthews. Your alternate route typically is Highway 51, but there's a lot of people trying to take that to avoid taking 485. So bottom line, allow for a little extra patience and a little extra time for your morning commute. And then here in Matthews, still following this crash on John Street and Fremont Street.
Up next, we are getting you pumped for one of the most unique runs here in Charlotte. Why thousands will hit the runway in just a couple weeks.
Looking ahead, one of Charlotte's unique events sold out in record time this year, just under 3 hours. The 18th annual Runway 5K at Charlotte Douglas will take place Saturday, October 18th.
More than 1,800 runners and walkers are going to hit the tarmac for great views, good exercise, and an important cause. Joining us this morning from Charlotte Douglas are the airport's Community Engagement Manager, Melissa Treadaway, and CPCC's Vice President of Institutional Advancement, Lisa Schlachter. Ladies, thanks for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Melissa, I'm going to start with you. Why is this race, do you think, after all these years, why is it so popular?
Oh my goodness, it's such a unique opportunity. So our participants get a chance to run or walk on a real active runway. About halfway through the race, you make a right-hand turn and you see the sun rising over uptown Charlotte and our terminal. It's absolutely beautiful. We usually have aircraft out on the runway. So last year you got to run right under the wing of a 777 aircraft. There's just nothing like it.
Okay, that sounds like so much fun. Makes me want to get out there and run. Why does CLT host this every year?
It's one of the ways we like to show the community that we're being a good neighbor. It's kind of twofold. We give the community an opportunity to come in and get this really unique view of an airport. It's a way there's no other way to see the airport from this point of view. But then we're also doing good for the community in terms of the Central Piedmont Community College scholarships.
Yeah, Lisa, more on that now. Tell us more about the scholarship and how much money has been raised so far for it.
We are beyond grateful. Over $226,000 has been raised since 2019, and last year was over $65,000 alone. We are confident that that will be exceeded this year.
Wonderful. And of course, you can highlight the need why CPCC students might need this scholarship money.
Absolutely. Students from Mecklenburg County are receiving this amazing scholarship. Right now, we have 5 students who are returning. We have 10 new students that we just welcomed into the cohort this academic year, and we already have 15 who have either graduated or transferred to a 4-year institution. So already 30 students have been impacted in such a positive way through this race. We're so grateful.
All right, Melissa, so we said that this is sold out, but is there a way that people can still take part in some way or at least donate perhaps?
Yes, absolutely. So you can go to our website. If you go to raceroster.com and search for CLT Runway 5K, on the left-hand side of the page, there's a way to make a donation.
All right. Anything the runners need to know?
Yes, absolutely. Remember, this race is on a secure runway. And so that means that you can't bring anything with you that you couldn't bring on race day. You have to make sure you have an ID with you so that we can check your ID and see that you are actually the person who signed up for the race. There's no bags allowed and no spectators. And then one last thing, it's really important to remember that although the race is at the airport, all of our runners are going to Charlotte Premium Outlets to park, and then we're going to bus them over to the race area.
Oh, good. So you don't have to worry about finding airport parking if you're not even taking a flight.
It sounds really fun.
Absolutely.
It sounds so much fun. Part of me is like, I think I may want to do that.
I'm not much of a runner, but I might be for that, right?
Stay tuned, folks.
All right. Ladies, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Have a great day. Thank you.
All right, you too.
All right, coming up, we're remembering the Mallard Creek barbecue. Details on the nearly century-old tradition in Charlotte that unfortunately is coming to an end. Well, within the last few hours, we've learned that a longtime tradition in Charlotte is ending. For the first time in nearly 100 years, the Mallard Creek barbecue won't be held.
Now, many people know the event was held every October at Mallard Creek Presbyterian Church, drew thousands from all over it, and marked sort of the unofficial kickoff to the campaign trail for a lot of people out there. Barbecue known for its pulled pork, Brunswick stew, and for politicians who'd always be there stumping for votes. Organizers say aging membership and leadership moving away have made it hard to keep the event going. In a statement, leaders thank the countless thousands of neighbors who've visited the barbecue for good food, fellowship, and contributions. There's hope that a younger generation could one day step up to bring it back.
Kind of thing that you really hate to see
I will
go
partner
away.
and do it.
I know we have Destiny and Larry here, both covered it over the years. People hear this and they think, oh, it's a barbecue. What's the big deal? But I mean, it's a big cultural thing here.
I think 93rd year last year, this would have been the 94th year. Started back in 1929 as a fundraiser for the Mallard Creek Presbyterian Church to raise funds for a Sunday school building that they constructed. So it really started as a fundraiser for the church and then just evolved into what they call the granddaddy barbecues. I mean, there's so much history there. Interesting, politicians made it an effort to get out there. They kind of corralled them around, put them in a corral. So if you wanted to talk to me, I'd walk up there. But in 1988, I think it was the first time I did what's called a live shot out there. Dan Quayle, Vice President of Canada, Dan Quayle was there. And J.D. Vance was there last year.
Oh, wow.
A lot of vice presidential candidates dropped by the Mallard Creek barbecue. It's hard to believe it's ending.
Yeah, you were out there last year covering it.
Yeah, last year was my first and possibly last time covering it. But yeah, it was really cool. Last year was the first time since before COVID that they brought back sitting outside, because before it was just a drive-through.
Right.
So it was really cool to see everybody out and sitting down and enjoying it. Talked to Donnie Ayler, who's a longtime volunteer. His family has been a part of it since it started, so it was really nice to talk to him. And the Brunswick stew. Oh my goodness. It took my breath away. Definitely, I'm going to miss that so much.
That they had.
Yeah.
I remember one of the times out there. In fact, this may be 1996 or something like that. I did all my weather out there. Started early in the morning. We got there like at 4 o'clock, and then helped them paddle. I mean, it's almost like boat, canoe paddles. And they make great Brunswick stew barbecue. And I love the coleslaw. That was my
you
favorite.
saw the video there. She was
It was a huge
piling
undertaking.
it on.
I mean, when we say that they talk about leadership not being there, and I mean, because for these folks, I mean, this was a huge effort.
It's a lot of
this
work.
was not just a quick little barbecue they threw together. I mean, it was a massive undertaking.
Yeah, and they love it so much, and that's why they put so much heart into it and have kept it going for so long.
And it just took so many volunteers out there. They got there early in the morning. Charles Kimmery is the person who really has been, I think Charles and Bill Wood, the two guys have been responsible for the past maybe 25, 30 years. And, I know it's kind of heartbreaking to think that this such a long time tradition is ending, but we appreciate what those folks did since the Ayler family did it back in the 1920s, and that name is attached to that area.
Right.
Oehler.
Yeah. And last year, part of the funds went to Western North Carolina too. So they
I tell you what, I mean, again, fair or not, the city gets criticized for not keeping around history.
Everything's shiny and new.
I know, and we love our city, but we do hate to see this go.
Hopefully, a younger generation, as it said, will come back and bring it back for sure. Such a great tradition there.
All right, Larry, thank
you.
you. All right, let's get a check of the forecast right now with Chris.
Thanks a lot, Ben. Charlotte Motor Speedway, look at this. It is active at 8:21 in the morning. The reason why, of course, the Roll 400 is this weekend, so there's a lot of different events that are going on each and every day. And for this Wednesday, things really start getting going, and we're starting to see that sunshine getting going. Over here in Anson County, a decent amount of spots of blue that are heading our general direction. Hurricane Imelda, as per the 8 a.m. advisory, not too much of a change. It did move 1 mile per hour faster compared to the 5 a.m. 90 mile per hour winds. I think it will jump about another 10. Dare I say 15 to 20. I think we're going to be just shy of Category 3 strength in general. And it was since Imelda was nearby that was spitting in some extra moisture that kept it especially wet on Monday. Monday was a decent soaker of light to moderate rain. Imagine if Imelda actually made landfall. We could have been talking about 3 to 5 inches of rain. So we can thank our lucky stars that it's heading the opposite direction, or at least us here. Still, prayers for Bermuda, how they're going to fare for that system, even though they are well equipped and have hit some much stronger thunderstorms. Well, technically they're involved. Hurricanes in general. Satellite radar just shows some thicker clouds starting out in the morning, but eventually that is going to break, as you can see right here for our future cast. Decent amount of sunshine, mostly sunny skies, and then through tomorrow, look at this. Not really too much movement whatsoever. I think that we have a type of scenario that most of the day, wall-to-wall sunshine over the next 36 hours. Not a lot to report. A little bit of rain just along the shoreline, so great along the beach. However, we still have some dangerous rip currents, especially over the next 3 days, as long as Imelda is close enough within about 1,000 miles of the shoreline. And in the near term, we are dry. There's a slight spotty, barely any rain chance on Sunday. By tomorrow, that might even be brought to a dry status. And then we have isolated showers on Monday and Tuesday. Going outside of our 7-day, I think it's the middle of next week, around Wednesday to Thursday, we have a cold front. That's our best chance, just not for heavy rain, but even a chance for a thunderstorm for that transition. Our dew points on the rise. That's also going to be some thunderstorm fuel heading into next week. So it's the next 4 that are my favorite. These are going to be the most comfortable before we're in the lower to the mid 60s, feeling a little bit stickier. Our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. Notice the top. I put the averages there for a reason to start off October. 78 to 57 is where we should be. Our highs are pretty close to that, mid to the upper 70s, but if you notice, by tomorrow, our lows are 53, 51. We are going to have some below average mornings coming up, feeling that chill, but Majestic and I were dropping the word crisp to describe the morning, so that is going to be absolutely delightful. So Majestic, take it away. It's been a busy Wednesday.
It is busy out there, and really it's not slowing down. It's 8:23 if you are gearing up to head out the door for your Wednesday morning commute. We're still looking at this active crash here. This is outbound on Graham Street and 24th. This is still not cleared here. Again, a couple of police officers there. We have the car that's up on the sidewalk right now. Seems like they are letting traffic get around it. It's not completely blocked, but it is going to slow your commute down if you typically drive that way. Want to let you know about something new this morning. It's right here, a crash on I-77 southbound near exit 9. That's to get onto I-277. You can see that red. We know this area is always kind of a nightmare this time of the day, but it's also not helpful when we actually have that active crash, just like what we have right now. Another lane, this is the one that we were talking about that I just showed you the picture of. So one lane is blocked because of it, but again, it's not completely shut down at this point. 485 has been a mess this morning. The inner loop specifically out towards Matthews. Delays all the way backed up towards Mint Hill. A lot of construction this morning, but now we also have a lot of people all heading out for their morning commute. You could take Highway 51, but there will be delays there as well. We're going to take a quick break. We'll see you right back here in just a few minutes.
Well, good morning, everybody. The upper 70s are our highest today, and as we continue through the day, hour by hour, we're going to get more and more sunshine, but hey, really not too bad of a start of the day. I hope you all enjoy it. It's looking pretty good, and those winds are going to still be a little bit more on the breezy side. You can expect a gust up to 20 miles per hour, but other than that, really not too bad. Our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. We should be starting off October 1st at 78 degrees. What do you know? It is an average day. Now, we're starting off cloudy, as I mentioned. More sunshine through the afternoon. Almost wall-to-wall sunshine status for your Thursday. Feeling amazing, but those cooler lows start to filter in. The lower 50s Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning as that sun is starting to rise up. Now, heading into the weekend, it starts to get a little bit stickier, especially by your Sunday, but temperatures right around 80 degrees. Absolutely great weather for doing anything outside. There's a lot going on this weekend. A bunch of festivals and also the Rolled 400 and the Panthers game. Those are looking dry, but we have a better chance for rain heading into the middle of next week, especially next Wednesday into Thursday. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's move over to traffic. A very busy morning commute.
Good morning, everyone. If you are gearing up to head out the door, well, make sure you have plenty of drive time because, boy, those roads are definitely getting busy. It is 8:27 right now. This is I-77 at 277. You can see those cars are moving rather slowly. We have 35 minutes if you're coming in from Belmont. And good morning to you in Gastonia. It's going to take you around 50 minutes to get into Charlotte. We do have this active crash right here. It's outbound lanes on Graham Street and 24th. In addition to that, we also have this slowdown right here on I-77 to get on 277.
You are streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Happening today, Medicaid cuts take effect across North Carolina, lowering how much the state pays doctors, therapists, and other providers.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards joins us live in the studio this morning to explain what this could mean for the thousands of people who will be impacted. Destiny.
Good morning. Advocates say the reductions will make it harder for families to find care, especially those raising autistic children who depend on Medicaid for essential therapies and supports. Starting today, Medicaid reimbursement rates are being reduced by 3 to 10%, depending on the service. That includes speech therapy, child development services, and care management programs. The state says the changes are needed to keep Medicaid within its budget, but providers warn fewer therapists may accept Medicaid, leading to longer wait times and less access. For autistic children, those supports aren't optional. They're critical. Rebecca Tarrant, founder of the Charlotte nonprofit Autism Kids, says the cuts will hurt families who already struggle to find services.
The children that already have supports are going to have a hard time keeping them. They're going to have a hard time getting the supports to begin with. And it's also going to be harder for them to get supports in school. So it's going to bar their access to healthcare and to an inclusive education. It's going to be more expensive. It's going to be more stressful. And what we really need is we need them to find the money somehow. We need them to find the funding.
Autism advocates say losing those services could have lifelong impacts, not only making childhood harder, but reducing independence later on. They're urging lawmakers to restore the funding before more families fall through the cracks. Ben, Lisa.
So, Destiny, what happens next? Could these cuts be reversed?
Yeah, so possibly is the answer. Earlier this year, lawmakers approved only part of the funding Medicaid needed, and competing House and Senate plans could not resolve the funding gap. So Governor Stein has been urging them to act and instructed the health department to make reversible cuts where possible. But obviously, October 1st is here, so those cuts are in place. The legislature is scheduled to reconvene on October 20th. But in the meantime, families are hoping that additional funding can be approved to restore payments before the cuts cause more strain. And it's not just these families. The wider picture is 3.1 billion North Carolinians use Medicaid, so it's a big impact.
For sure.
And as we know, just I think a year and a half ago, we had a Medicaid expansion in the state, which went to 600,000 people. So 1 year it expands, the next year it faces cut. You can understand how it's tough for families.
Yeah, those cuts are going to be deep.
Yeah.
All right, Destiny.
Of course, all these cuts coming as the federal government remains shut down for the first time in 7 years. The shutdown officially began at midnight after Democratic and Republican leaders failed to agree even on a short-term deal to keep the government fully funded.
Right now, though, it's unclear just how long this shutdown will last or how widespread the impacts will be. Here on WCNC Plus, we spoke with an NC State University political professor, Stephen Green, and he says both sides are blaming each other, of course, and Democrats are using health care as leverage to stand their ground.
Under the Biden, so a lot of people buy their healthcare insurance on these healthcare marketplaces, the so-called Obamacare plans. And to help people be able to afford that, the government offers subsidies to do that. And under the Biden administration, the extent of those subsidies, the dollar value of those subsidies was increased to make healthcare literally more affordable for millions of Americans. And the Trump administration has proposed getting rid of that, those extended subsidies, so that healthcare becomes dramatically more expensive for lots of people starting next year. And so Democrats feel like healthcare is very much a winning issue for them in the court of public opinion. Again, especially on a situation where you will see people almost surely lose their healthcare coverage because they simply won't be able to afford it anymore. So they feel like this is a good ground for them to kind of stake their claim against the Trump administration.
The U.S. Senate is supposed to be in session today and will vote again. NBC's Alice Barr has more on the fierce stalemate now in Congress.
This morning, as the consequences of a government shutdown start rippling across the country, on Capitol Hill, frustrated lawmakers starting a new clock to reopen.
It's time to end this and release the hostage. Let's get back to work.
Republicans and Democrats trading blame after two last-ditch funding votes failed in the Senate Tuesday night. Without the necessary 7 Democrats crossing over to back it, they're holding out to restore health care cuts and extend Obamacare subsidies.
Fix health care premiums and spare Americans the calamity of skyrocketing through the roof health care costs.
Republicans argue those discussions can wait, voicing pessimism about the current standstill.
There literally is nothing to negotiate. They're bringing in extraneous issues that don't have anything to do at all with keeping the government open.
Despite the shutdown, Social Security, Medicare, and VA benefits will continue, along with student loans. But national parks could close, and roughly 750,000 federal workers could be furloughed. Many more, including TSA agents, required to work without pay until the shutdown ends.
We're looking for bombs, weapons, stuff like that, and you can't miss, right? So you don't want officers with added stress of how am I going to pay my bills?
President Trump raising the stakes, reiterating his threat of mass layoffs while blaming Democrats.
Cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like.
Democrats adamant those cuts are already happening, pushing for leverage now.
They've got to sit down and negotiate with Democrats
as the nation waits for what's next. While we wait to hear about negotiations, several leading Republicans have said they don't see a clear way out of this shutdown right now, while the Senate's top Democrat argued the American people are learning how bad the nation's health care crisis is and will put heat on Republicans to solve it. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Thanks a lot, Alice Barr. We are dealing with Hurricane Imelda and the last-ditch effort to give us a little extra moisture. The rain is done for at least the next 4 days. Hurricane Imelda, the most recent advisory, 8 o'clock, so that was less than an hour ago, 36 minutes to be precise. 90-mile-per-hour winds is what we have, and this will easily, I think, get up to Category 2 strength before it's going to be threatening parts of the really Bermuda area. And then meanwhile, this guy right here, that's the leftovers of Dorian, sorry, I was looking back in the past about our list. This is Umberto that is going to be fading out. And then as you can see, as we work our way through the week, by the weekend, it's down below hurricane strength. And then Imelda is a distant memory. Same with Umberto. And then we'll see them again in 6 years when we revisit this list. Checking out the mean sea level pressure. So that's just really showing the contours and a good way to pick up if there's going to be some sort of tropical system or a big time low. And you can see those systems really dissipate each other. They helped each other out. There was that Fujiwara effect going, and then Imelda dissipates. Here's the good news, though, that I do want to point out. I'm not seeing any new development of any tropical system. It's really even an inkling, a possibility, because Imelda and Umberto were kind of indicated at least 10 days out when we were watching it. And then once it get a little bit closer, it's like, oh no, check out this wave. But then you're also looking at this area. That is not a low pressure system. That's a high pressure system. So that keeps us nice and dry, and also a good putting up the Heisman type of deal, keeping any tropical systems away from the Carolinas, not so much over in Florida. So we got to hope that there's no sort of tropical systems. If we can go throughout the rest of the season without any significant storm, boy, would that be amazing. But we've already had some pretty dangerous systems. Aaron caused a lot of damage and didn't even make landfall. And we can't forget about Chantal. It was a tropical storm, but then we did have some deaths, sadly, here in North Carolina because of that flooding. So even a tropical storm, the rain can be devastating. So again, fingers crossed. We're into October, which historically has still produced a lot of big bad hurricanes. Spotty rain chance by your Sunday, isolated chances for your Monday heading into Tuesday. It's really next Wednesday into Thursday that we have a front arrive. It'll be more humid, better chance for storms. Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast showing a good one though. Over the next 4, it's feeling super comfortable, but it's also dry enough that it's going to allow our lows to drop down into the 50s, back to lower 80s, feeling a little more humid Sunday and beyond. But all in all, that is a good looking first 7 days of October. Majestic and I are excited, maybe not as excited about this morning commute because it's not great.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, we just have a lot of people trying to get to where they need to be this morning. We have congestion and then, of course, several ongoing accidents, unfortunately. Let's get you going. Right now, it is 8:39. We do have dry area roadways, still a little bit of cloud coverage, but sunny skies by the later half of the day, so grab those sunglasses. You're going to want them. Belmont, it's going to take you just around 35 minutes to get into Charlotte, and you can see we have not only just our typical delays, but of course just a lot of ongoing wrecks. This right here is I-77. There is a crash there on those southbound lanes near exit 9. That's as you're trying to get onto 277 right there. So slowdowns are happening right now, and then still we're seeing just a mess on 485, the inner loop, still all of that red indicating stop and go traffic, and it's a combination of delays because of early morning construction, but also this is just a well-trafficked area, so you add it together and it's not the best case scenario. Your best alternate route would typically be Highway 51, but a lot of people have been trying to take that same route, so there are going to be delays all around. And Matthews, good morning too. We still are following this active crash here on John Street and Fremont Street, and then as we zoom it on out, still seeing some delays on Monroe. We did have a crash earlier. It has since been cleared. And then again, if you're coming in from York County, just expect those delays inbound on I-77. Lisa.
Majestic, thanks. An alert for folks out in Catawba County. Public health officials say a stray cat in the Sherrills Ford area tested positive for rabies. They say anyone who may have come into contact with a stray black tuxedo cat anytime since September 15th should call the county disease team to discuss next steps, which could include receiving a rabies vaccine.
Coming up, a crime alert you should know about: car break-ins on the rise in Pineville. We're back in 2 minutes.
A crime alert this morning. Pineville police are urging people to lock their cars and take valuables inside. Car break-ins are up 18% this year. That's about 25 more compared to last year. In fact, police say they recently had 6 break-ins in a single week. A new fight over the criminal justice system is brewing in Washington. It started right here in North Carolina. North Carolina Congressman Tim Moore just introduced a bill letting crime victims sue judges over their bond and sentencing decisions.
WCNC Charlotte's Trisha Woodard found out why some say they wish the policy had been in place a lot sooner.
I had a good kid. He was amazing.
4 days after Dawson Oliver blew out the candles on his 22nd birthday cake back in February, his mother, Billy Sanders, was picking out a casket.
There's something wrong with our system.
Police say his life was cut short in a crash caused by a man who'd been through the court system again and again.
It's changed my life, but I will fight as long as I have fight left in me.
The suspect in the case had a rap sheet stretching back more than a decade, including a conviction for DUI back in 2022.
I don't see how these judges can see all this stuff and let them out.
Sanders is one of many now fueling a new push against judges.
My life has changed forever, and I feel like the blood is partly on their hands.
Congressman Tim Moore's bill would allow victims to sue judges over their bond and sentencing decisions.
I just want people held accountable before they make these decisions in court. I just want them to think, please think, because that's our babies out there.
Moore also pointing to the deaths of Irina Zaruska and Logan Federico as examples. Lives, he says, could have been saved.
Only to be murdered by some animal who should have been behind bars.
She was 5'3". She weighed 115 pounds.
Sanders says this isn't just a legal fight. It's about making sure no other parent has to bury their child because a dangerous offender was given yet another chance.
I don't want any other mother to feel the way that I feel. It's excruciating.
Trisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
Up next, Chris and Majestic will have a final check of your weather and the morning commute.
Well, good day, good morrow. Here's what's going on. I want to start off with our October changes. So 78 degrees is how we on average, these are just the day-to-day averages that we have here in the Charlotte area, 78 for a high, 57 for a low. Notice the changes because October is known for the most significant changes from start to finish for both our highs and lows, and that's for either side of an increase or decrease. We're talking about a 10-degree downshift for our highs and a 13-degree cool down by Halloween. That means that we start off the month averaging in the mid to the upper 50s and get into the 40s and even a chance of more of the 30s heading into November. So it happens fast. So enjoy the warmth while we have it. It's going to be a big shift before you know it, but still really a comfortable month. October is one of my favorite months here in the Carolinas, honestly. Our afternoon winds are a little bit lighter than yesterday, but still could get up to around 20 miles per hour. Winds still out of the north and northeast. That's going to keep us in the cooler side of things. That's why we have the range of the 70s. Once we start cranking things out of the south, it'll start feeling more humid and it'll get a little bit warmer heading into next week. Here's a gorgeous look at one of our cameras. As you can see right here, looks like a trapper keeper. So just wanted to show this off to you. A little bit of little jazz here in the background. 78 degrees for a high temperature for today, and then outside of that, we are looking at clouds to just slowly decrease throughout the day. Let's get that out of here. Come on, camera. Feeling fall-like again. It feels amazing today. We're right around 78 degrees today, 74 to 76, so the mid-70s with barely a cloud in the sky on Thursday, by the way, and it's going to be a chillier side of the forecast, dropping down in the 50s each morning. Just feeling great. The lower you lower the dew points, the cooler it could potentially feel. You can see off in the distance for a camera that's actually working over here in Rock Hill that it's actually a gorgeous forecast, but you are dealing with some pretty significant cloud cover. Again, just letting you know that cloud cover is going to break up. We're 68 degrees right now. By tomorrow morning, we're talking about the 50s. Now, we already hit our low probably about an hour and a half ago, so realistically at this point, each morning we'll be in the mid-50s, but that's still a major difference. And I already showed you your wind forecast. I don't know how that popped up again. If you're planning on going up to the mountains, Grandfather Mountain right now dealing with some high color, but we are expecting over the next week or so for it to be at its peak. Today is a perfect day. Also, it's not as busy today on a Wednesday. If you have the opportunity, why not, right, if you're off? For our extended forecast, everything is trending in a real good direction. Our Jerry Hunt Super Center 7-day forecast has us for an average start to the month. Beautiful, perfect, crisp air starting off each day, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Back to around 80 degrees with a little bit on the stickier side for Sunday. And then early next week, here's the big shift. We're talking about a chance for an isolated shower or storm, but it's outside of this, where my hand is right here. Wednesday, you have a front that's going to roll through. That's the best chance for scattered to widespread rain, even thunderstorms, and that's also looking to be the most humid day. Just kind of giving you a look to day 8 outside the 7-day forecast. All right, Majestic, final time we're talking here on WCNC Plus. Let's wrap it up with a bow.
Let's do it. I-77 here. It actually seems to be flowing much better than what it was just about 10 minutes ago. This is out in South Carolina, so conditions are continuing to look all right. Not perfect, but they're all right for the most part. This is also I-77 a little closer to uptown though, 67 degrees, and again, mainly just dry out there for that morning commute. I want to let you know about a few things because as you can see, we still have a lot of ongoing wrecks. This one here is going to slow down many people's morning commutes. It's a crash on I-77 southbound near exit 9. That's to get onto 277, so a highly trafficked area even when there isn't an accident. And then also, still, this has kind of been the watch spot this morning, 485. We always know that it's moving quite slowly this time of the day, but it's been even moving slower because we had some overnight construction that lasted into the morning time hour, and then that morning traffic really built back behind it. So if you want to just avoid these delays because it's still extending up towards Mint Hill through Matthews, you could take Highway 51, but as you can see, we do also have delays there. So definitely not the perfect morning commute, although the crash here that I've been talking about there in Matthews has since been cleared. Take it easy for your morning commute. No crashes right now on Independence or Monroe. It's going to be slow moving though if you're heading inbound on I-77.
Majestic, thanks. Check this out. A new exhibit near Uptown is encouraging people to not only touch the art, but to climb and crawl through it. Here's a look. In the basement of the Arts Plus Community Campus on the Plaza, creativity is taking root. An immersive art exhibit encourages people to fully engage with the art. Artists Lovely Moon and Arco, who created a portion of the Chromatic Roots exhibit, say it's designed to get you involved.
Every single one of your senses is going to be hit with something. So in addition to seeing all these amazing works of art, You're actually able to move through a space, climb up, go down, changes in textures.
The Chromatic Roots exhibit is months in the making and the only one of its kind in Charlotte. It features more than 30 artists with work spanning different geographic regions of Earth. It's also completely funded by the artists involved, something the artists say encouraged them to get creative.
We had an idea, we had a vision, and since Arts Plus was kind enough to give us the opportunity having this space, that kind of takes one of the big things out of the way, and we were like, hey, what do you think? Like, what if we just jump in and do it?
The exhibit also has a scavenger hunt. Every visitor is given a passport to fill out by finding the hidden stamp in each region. If you find them all, you'll get a prize.
I hope that people are just inspired to kind of lean into their imagination and creativity.
Arco says it's been his mission to bring art to more unconventional spaces, and it's been worth the work to see how people react.
We get the same reaction from a 10-year-old that has spent an hour in the space as we get from a 70-year-old that has spent an hour in the space. It's really, really exciting to see that we're able to kind of rekindle this inner child in adults.
Chromatic Roots has weekend spots available all October, including some special events. We have more information on how to get tickets and this story on the WCNC Charlotte mobile app. Lisa Washington, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, 8:54 right now. We're going to take a quick break. Coming up next right here on WCNC Plus, our own Jane Monreal is going to be live from our News Impact studio. She's going to talk NASCAR playoffs and talk to Charlotte Motor Speedway about the Roval 400 coming up this weekend. That's coming your way right here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, good morning. We continue to see the sky get brighter and brighter. Let's do what Boone's doing. Lots of blue sky, 55 there, 69 degrees right now. Most of the area, mostly cloudy to partly sunny skies. I think we're going to be ending the day under mostly sunny status. Temperatures jumping up into the upper 70s, close to 80 degrees for some. And then we have a clear night tonight, and that means by 1 a.m. we're down to the lower 60s, already much cooler than where we have been over the last few mornings. And then check this out, 53, 51, 52, so we have some crisp mornings to really head into the weekend. So all in all, not too bad. Next rain chances next week. Majestic, take it away.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. I-77, there it is. This is just north of Griffith. We have lots of people out on those area roadways. It's nearly 9 o'clock this morning, and we still have a lot of congestion. If you're coming in from Gastonia, it's going to take you around 40 minutes. And unfortunately, we still have a handful of crashes that are ongoing. This one is likely going to slow you down. If you take I-77 southbound right around Uptown, exit 9, there's a crash right there to get onto I-277, so allow for a few extra minutes.
Welcome to WCNC. I'm just kidding. Oh dear.